Radio Curtain Network.
Jorgito! Going down! Najee Harris! DJ Watt!
What is up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Steelers Preview. It's another Blue Plate special edition for those that are watching live on YouTube, which, by the way, call to action. Watching this, hey, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate it. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, follow so you don't miss anything. But joining me, as always, Dave Schofield, back from hiatus. What's up, Dave?
Not too much, Jeff. I'm just happy to be back. More in a routine. I mean, I was happy when I was there, but I'm also happy to be back. And it's good to be back to more normal on YouTube because, as we said earlier this week, if you notice, the Super Chat feature is back.
It's back. That's right. Monetization is back. We do appreciate anyone that donates money to the group. We appreciate it. Brian Davis, what's up, Brian?
I actually thought it was called the Early Bird Special.
Blue Plate, Early Bird, same
Blue
thing.
Blue Plate and Early Bird. Is it the same thing?
I believe it is, yes. You're just eating early in the day.
Okay. Well, why is it called Blue Plate? Do they actually
I have no idea.
Plates?
I'll look it up. We'll talk about it in the second half, but let's get this show underway. We have a lot to discuss. We have preseason projections and postseason awards. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to be talking about what we, the three of us on the Steelers Preview, are projecting for specific awards like Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Most Valuable Player, etc. But even some other ones that are a little bit more concocted that we might throw in there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep these short and brief and just going to give our thoughts on who we think is going to be at which award. And so I feel like we want to lead up to the MVP being at the end. So let's start with, I thought this was an interesting one that we chose when we put our list together, and that is the Doghouse Player of the Year award. This would be the player that ends up in Mike Tomlin's doghouse, or I would also say the fan base's doghouse.
Yeah, Steelers Nation's doghouse.
Exactly. This could go in a bunch of different directions. We'll throw it to Dave first. Dave, who do you have for your doghouse player?
You had to start at the other end when I was going down through mine and not quite done yet. And said, oh, I'll fill these as I go. So I'm not there yet. Who do I think would end up in the doghouse? Well, I'm not going to take the easy choice of Steelers Nation. And I'm going to say why I'm not choosing Dan Moore Jr. is because he's either going to be doing a good job or he's not going to be playing.
True.
So that's going to kind of eliminate the whole doghouse possibility in my eyes. Now, I hope I didn't screw up anybody else's vote or anything like that. Just a player that seems to be in the doghouse. I mean, Presley Harvin's gone. So what are you going to do? You complain about there. But who's going to be in the doghouse of Steelers Nation? I'm actually going to go with Najee Harris.
Oh,
I think the fans are going to, because of everything else going on, unless there's a change in contract stuff between now and the start of the season, and it's more than just this year, I think that you're going to see fans that are going to call for Jalen Moore and more, and not and everything else. That nothing that Najee Harris does is right. I'm not saying that it's factual. I'm just saying that's how the fans are going to take a lot of stuff. So that's where I'm going to go.
All right. He said Najee. Brian, you can pick Najee as well. It's not like we can only have one player. So who do you think?
I had Najee in my top three. I had Dan Moore Jr. in there too. I'm going to surprise you completely.
Yeah, give us the other one then.
El Jorgito, George Pickens.
That's what I was going to say.
Deontay Johnson's gone. I could see if he doesn't have a 1,500-yard year and he's going to be double teamed, the fans are going to turn on him. He's the guy that it's easy for fans to turn on if he has one little bit of I don't want to call it a tantrum, but any kind of disagreement, and doesn't show that he's all in as a team player. And I think he will, but just one loss and one bad showing and one little bit of anger or frustration, the fans will turn.
I agree with that second part. I was going to say George Pickens the whole time, based on the fact that if he's struggling, and he's not having the production on the field, people are going to say, well, this is why they need a Brandon Ayuk. This is why they need another receiver opposite. But if he pouts about it, and if he's throwing stuff on the sideline, or he's being demonstrative in some way in the locker room, then that's when they would actually turn. That's when they would actually turn. I think that there's some Eric Parker. I just want to throw this up on the screen real quick. He said on YouTube, he said Russell Wilson. I could see that as well.
I almost went there.
Turning on Russell Wilson. Steeler Nation will turn on anyone that's not named Trent Jordan Watt. Like, that's literally the way that it works. But even TJ, I don't know. Oh, look at this. Tyler W gives us $2. Says, welcome back, Super Chats. Thank you, Tyler. We appreciate it. Yeah, as always, we appreciate it. Okay, thanks for the tip. Let's go to the next award. Another one that we created ourselves, which is the Unsung Hero Award. So do the math here, folks. It is when someone is playing well, maybe not getting the recognition that they thought they would. Dave, we're going to stick with the order. We're going to go first. Who's your unsung hero?
Unsung hero. Wait a second. I'm having a problem figuring out. There was. Oh, I got it. Yep. Sorry, because you're going out of order.
Yep.
For what I had before. My unsung hero is going to be the person who you count on so much, and sometimes you could even take for granted. I'm going with Chris Boswell.
Oh,
he's going to bail the Steelers out in a lot of places. And when you know at the end of the game, if you're tied or something like that, you just get in a certain area, you know you're good, because he can be that hero. But sometimes he might not be the guy that all the time is being called on to kick the ball when the clock goes to 0. But the stuff that he's doing and coming through and not missing kicks throughout the year it'll actually put them in a better place, and he doesn't have to kick it as the clock goes to 0.
All right. That's a good one. Bryan, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a newcomer. I was kicking around a receiver here, but I'm actually going to go on the other side of the ball, and one of those guys that defends said receivers. That's Dante Jackson.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think that it's really funny that there's no fanfare for this guy whatsoever, and I love it. I love the fact that people think they got ripped off in the Deontay Johnson trade. They did not. They have a guy on the other side of the ball of a guy who they think is going to be a superstar in Joey Porter Jr., but I think Dante Jackson could really help shut down the other side. He has excellent PFF numbers, and I'm not a big PFF guy. Some people are, some people aren't, but there's a lot of good things being said about this guy, and he was a Carolina Panther. And if you're not getting destroyed as a Carolina Panther and you're able to get traded for a guy like Deontay Johnson, I think there's a lot to this guy, and I can't wait to see him in a positive environment like Pittsburgh.
Okay, that's a good one. Let's go. I'm going to go with Cameron Johnston, the new punter.
That's really good one.
Because to me, the key to this award is unsung. So Chris Boswell, he might even get a lot of credit, though. If he's hitting game winners, like, he's going to get those accolades. The punter rarely ever gets those accolades. But I would just love nothing more than a punter that's consistent, that has a big leg, that can bail them out when they need a field flipping play. When was the last time the Steelers had a punter that could do any of the things I just described?
Consistently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Consistent. This is like, okay, Encyclopedia Bryan's brain. Like, let's see it. When was the last time they had a punter that could do that consistently? And I don't care what era.
Been a long, lonely time. Gosh. Mark Royals, maybe? Back in the 90s?
I remember Mark Royals.
From like 90 to 92. I thought he was pretty consistent for this team. Sepulveda, really no.
Yeah.
Mitch Berger was good for a year. I don't know. I would probably say go way back to maybe Colquitt or Harry Newsome. Let's go Harry Newsome.
Good God. That's why I chose Johnston as my guy. So that's an unsung hero award.
I don't know if it would count because I only watched one game today, because I don't know if you guys realized that Super Bowl 40 was on the NFL Network today. So I was watching that. And that was pretty cool watching Gardocki put one down inside the 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he actually did it throughout the whole season. I can just remember that.
He was a one-year wonder.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying Josh Miller. I guess I
pretty
missed Josh Miller.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next award, and let's go to the Chief Award. This is the player that has good media relations. They always answer the questions. They don't run from the media. So if someone says Najee Harris on this 3 panel, you're going to be removed from the show. So that's
why I
going to
put him in the doghouse.
All right, so Dave, go ahead. Who's the Chief Award winner?
My Chief Award winner is actually a newcomer to the team. I love listening to him talk. He did a great opening press conference. I'm going with Deshaun Elliott. Okay. I think the media is going to love that guy.
That's good. I like it.
I like that a lot. I think this is an easy one, though. Mm-hmm. It's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's the other obvious one, too. Yeah.
I think he's a newcomer, but it's my gosh, I've never seen anybody come in and have the be an ambassador. He should get the Dan Rooney Award because he's being an ambassador already. I mean, Kenny Chesney concert, Zach Brown concert, Permane brothers in a suit dressed to the nines, all of this, I'm like, wow, this guy is coming in and he's winning hearts, kissing babies. He's doing it, shaking hands, doing it all.
I'm actually going to go in a different direction. Both of the guys you said, I agree with 100%. And Russell Wilson was going to be my pick. But if there was a guy, a dark horse candidate here, I would say Keanu Benton. Everything you see from Keanu Benton, he is like a clone of Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward has won the Chief Award before. Everyone talks about Cam Hayward as that guy that no matter how angry he is. I had Chris Carter on my Let's Ride podcast who told the story about after the Chicago Bears lost, I think it was 2017 with all the fanfare going on. I don't know what year it was with the flag and all that stuff.
It was 17.
Yeah. Cam Hayward was furious after the game, and yet he still answered every single question from the media. And that's one of the reasons why Cam is considered like the pros pro. Keanu Benton's learning from him. He's a well-spoken guy. I'll go with Keanu Benton. All right, let's do another one here. Let's do Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year. This is interesting. Do we want to eliminate Mike Tomlin from the running?
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to eliminate coordinators and go with position coaches, or do we want to have?
I would just go to say assistant coach of the year is what I really wanted to write down, and I didn't.
Sure, that's fine.
Meaning just not the head coach.
Okay, so anyone but Mike Tomlin can win this one. So Dave, go ahead. Who's your pick?
I'm going with the low-hanging fruit that, although some people still might not be happy with it, it's got to be improved from last year. It's just got to be. So I'm hoping that the coach of the year ends up being Arthur Smith, because then we really see some improvement from this Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
All right. Fair enough. I agree that's low-hanging fruit. But Bryan, what about you?
Yeah, but sometimes the low-hanging fruit tastes damn good. Arthur Smith, carry on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is low-hanging fruit. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about the offensive line coach, Pat Meyer. And I'm thinking about the draft picks. I'm thinking about the investment they've put into the offensive line, whether it's Broderick Jones last year. We know Troy Fautanu. We know Zach Frazier, and maybe McCormick plays this year. I don't know. But if he can actually show like, hey, you give me something, I can make something. Like, give me the pieces of the puzzle and I'll put it together. He could do that. And I think if they have a really dominant running game and the offensive line starts to gel, I could see Pat Meyer getting this award.
Now, for both of these choices, both Pat Meyer and Arthur Smith, if things aren't going the right way, if the offensive line isn't coming together like that, if the offense isn't coming together, both of these guys, even as coaches, could have been our choices for the Doghouse Award.
This is true. Very accurate. All right, let's do one more before we take a break, and then we'll finish on the other side of the podcast. Let's go most improved or the breakout star. So a most improved player is going to have to be a returning player, a player that is either coming back from injury or a player that just is coming off of a really rough season. A breakout star might be someone that you don't see coming. So let's categorize those properly. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually won this award my first year playing high school football. I'm like, I guess I improved because I went from 0 to all area and stuff like that. So it was like second team. I am going with, once again, the low-hanging fruit. Keanu Benton. That's my guy that I think is just going to, take leaps and bounds this year and be that breakout star for the Steelers. I thought he was pretty good last year, but I really want to see him become where other teams are like, oh, you don't have anything after Cam Hayward. What else do they have with the defensive line? Oh, we can't forget that guy. He's now the guy. So that's who I'm going with.
All right, Bryan.
This is a tough one for me because I have two that I could possibly go with. I'm going to go, if it's most improved, I would go defense. If it's breakout star, I would go offense.
Go do both.
If it's a breakout star, I think it's going to be Darnell Washington. And I think that comes with, because I don't know if he needs improvement because he caught a lot of balls that came his way. Hardly any balls came his way, though.
10.
Yeah.
10 targets last year. Sorry.
So I really think that he will do well there. I'm going to go crazy here and say a guy that we've been down on that had a rough year that we were talking, I believe, in last week's show, that this guy is so important and we've been down on a little bit. It would be Larry Ogunjobi.
I like that.
So those are fair. I agree. The breakout star, Darnell Washington, that's what I was going to say. Most improved, I'm giving a different category here. I'm saying it's Broderick Jones. I think Broderick Jones, with the experience that he gained in his rookie year, could really step up and have a huge role, whether it's on the left side, right side, doesn't matter. And if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to show a lot of people why the Steelers traded up to get him in last year's draft. So there you have it, our most improved and breakout stars. We're going to take a quick break on the audio side. When we come back, we're going to be talking comeback player, offensive defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, and MVP. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, Steeler fans, welcome back to the second half of the podcast. We appreciate you all hanging around. And as we go through these projections and postseason awards, we went through a bunch. Let's continue with the comeback player of the year. No, not Joe Flacco. This is going to be a Steeler. Who exactly would epitomize a comeback player? Someone that, again, maybe it's not so much improved, but they didn't have a good year last year, but they're really going to show out this year. Dave, who do you think?
Jeff knows how to push my buttons. He knows that I could just go off on that whole Joe Flacco thing for forever. But I was really torn between two. But I'm actually going to go, because I didn't use him anywhere else, I'm going with, captain, my captain. I'm going with Cam Hayward. That after missing half the season last year and basically being injured during the second half, that he's going to come back and show, hey, I know I'm getting older, but I still got it. And for the Steelers, that'll be their biggest comeback player.
All right. What about you, Bryan?
Could we go ahead with Pat Freiermuth?
Sure.
I'm going to give, because, he was injured maybe a few games last year. But I really think that that his numbers are going to be most improved and a comeback. And I think he's going to be considered a top 5.
Yeah. I think Pat Freiermuth, in the same light, in the words that you used to describe why Freiermuth would fit this category, I'm going to say Minkah Fitzpatrick. Because I think Minkah Fitzpatrick was hampered with the injuries last year, the knee injury, the hamstring injury. He should be back healthy and also playing at a different position, meaning more the robber, which we're used to seeing him. I think he's got comeback player written all over him. All three of these guys show out. I think the Steelers are doing just fine. We'll put it that way.
But the other person I was torn about didn't get mentioned by you guys. And that's all about if he can come back. And that's Cole Holcomb. If Cole Holcomb comes back and is playing like he did last year, then it's him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of what he went through. But are we ready to bank on that right now before the season starts, that he's going to come back and be that guy?
No.
That's why these other choices are the better choices right now. But we have to acknowledge it could be if he can get there.
I can't believe I didn't think of Cole Holcomb. The dude had a gruesome knee injury, and I didn't even think about it. Okay. All right, let's go to the next. And now we're getting into the big ones. We're getting into these are the ones that are difficult to project. Let's go with rookie of the year. So now we're going with, which of the Steelers rookies do you think wins rookie of the year? Dave, we'll start with you. This is the Joe Green Award, by the way.
Yes. I was really torn on this one, and I'm very, very torn. So I'm going to leave my other choice to the guy that's sporting his image. So therefore, I'm going to then go with, because I was torn between the two, I'll leave the one. I'll go with Zach Frazier, because I think out of everyone, he has the best opportunity to start right off the bat. And if the Steelers' offensive line ends up being, a top 10, even higher unit, it's going to be a big deal. Then the national media, I think, will point to Zach Frazier as, the Steelers and their history of centers. This is a rookie. This is a great line. And I think he'll get a lot of credit if the whole line plays well, and he's the guy that's starting there.
All right, let's go to Robert Spillane down at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, Bobby.
The legacy, right?
He's wearing a 41 jersey, by the way. For those that are listening in audio, they can't see. Before we went live, I said
we could split this to offense and defense so I could go with both answers. But I'm like, no, I'll be nice and leave this for Bryan.
So you know what? It's really hard for me to disagree with Dave on Zach Frazier. And I think my head is saying Zach Frazier, but for some reason, my heart is going with it's not a Spillane jersey. I tell you what, I like Spillane that much that I would wear a Spillane jersey.
Heck, wear a Raiders jersey.
Yeah, a Raiders Spillane jersey.
Because you're a fan.
Because you're a Raiders fan.
Silver and black, black and gold. What's the difference? Right? No. I didn't say that. No, hey,
all right.
I actually have the Frazier jersey too, but I'm going to go ahead with Peyton Wilson.
All right. I can't believe no one said Troy Fautanu. I think this guy's going to play a lot more than people think. He might not start the year. I know Dave just did a scenario for SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Check that website out, by the way, SteelCurtainNetwork.com. And it was all about how no rookies will start in week one. That was his scenario. He didn't say he agreed with it, but still, I think Troy Fautanu is going to be a difference maker. And they want him to be the right tackle. And when they think that he's ready, you'll see Broderick Jones move, and then let's see what these young guys can do. Yeah. So that's
the question with him is when.
Right, exactly.
Because he hasn't played the right side.
Who won the Joe Green Award last year?
There was Joey Porter.
Broderick, right? No, Joey.
Was it Joey?
I don't know.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it was. My goodness, and
unfortunately, I have up on my screen what a blue plate special is.
That's hilarious.
Which isn't an early bird thing.
I think it was Joey.
Oh, it's not. I think it was.
I think it was Joey. JPJ.
Come on.
I'll look it up. Anyways. All right. So there we go. Let's go to. So we got the rookie of the year out of the way. Let's go to defensive player of the year. Dave, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, this might surprise you, but you got to remember how these things work out. Okay. Because the big category, often they don't give the big award person one of either the offensive or defensive player of the year when you think of that. So, which kind of tips my hand for where I'm going in the future. But for defensive player of the year, I'm going with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think he has a big year. I think he gets his name out there in contention for defensive player of the year in the NFL. And I think that it would be defensive player of the year, Minkah Fitzpatrick for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. And by the way, Joey Porter Jr. did win the Joe Green Award last year.
Thank you.
I looked it up. Okay. So you say Minkah. Bryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go absolutely off the reservation here. And I'm going to say Landon Roberts.
Okay.
I just think that he could be a Pro Bowler. I think that he is so important to that team and that he might be the Steelers defensive player of the year.
Okay. I hope you're right. Obviously, the low-hanging fruit in this category is TJ Watt because he's TJ Watt. If I were to say someone else, though, just for the sake of conversation, it might be Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
If Joey Porter Jr. continues on his trajectory, following the number one wide receiver, blanketing these great receivers, and just maybe coming up with some more interceptions, he could find his way into that category.
Yes.
So, but TJ Watt's the obvious
answer.
Well,
it is, but I basically told you why I didn't pick TJ Watt before I answered the question.
Exactly.
But with back to Bryan, I'm really surprised. Well, I know how much you love Landon Roberts. You always have. Well, but that's why you were a big Patriots fan for the longest time, because that's how
Oh my
long
gosh.
you loved him. That's how long you've loved him.
I'm getting asked if I have a Lionel Zato jersey you guys are killing me. If you cut me, I bleed black and gold. You all know that.
But I was very
Damn
close.
you, Jeff.
I was very close to picking Patrick Queen. That's why I thought Landon Roberts was interesting, because I was close to picking Queen. But I'm like, I really just think I think not only is Minka going to get back to Minka, I think he's going to make up for last year's numbers in this year to where it averages out for his career. I think this will be. I'm looking for a career year,
and that's fair. All right, let's go to the offensive player of the year now. Dave, who do you think?
You got to go think I'm crazy. You really are. Because how could you both be in the doghouse and the offensive player of the year? I'm going with Najee Harris.
Ah, interesting. So breakout year for Najee.
Yes.
Okay.
And still might be in the doghouse.
Of course. But if he's having that type of year, I don't think he'll be in the doghouse as bad as people might think.
I just think the Steelers are going to commit to the run, and it's going to work with this offensive line. So therefore, I think, the biggest thing that would hurt that is if if both him and Jaylen Warren are really close in numbers, yet the running game is what's really driving things.
All right, Bryan, what do you think?
I too am going Najee Harris. I want to go with George Pickens. I want to do the same thing Dave did with my possible doghouse player, but I really think this is set up for Najee.
I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. Right now, all the national media are saying, "Oh, the training camp competition to watch." Like we've said it a million times. Like there's no competition. It's Russell Wilson's job, unless he gets hurt or unless he completely falls flat on his face, which we won't know that till the start of the regular season. It's his job, and I hope like crazy that he shows out and that he plays well enough that he's the quarterback for the whole season, and that he plays well enough that they want to give him an extension after this year. I hope that happens, because if it does, that means that good things are happening offensively. So I'm going to go with Russell Wilson for Offensive Player of the Year because he's a quarterback and, well, people love quarterbacks. So we'll go with Russ. Danger Russ. And this brings us to the Most Valuable Player award. And this is always a tough one. Last year was a TJ, I think, that won the award.
How many years has he won it in a row now?
Is it consecutive? Didn't Minka win it one year?
No, I think it's been TJ. Now you're going to make me look that up.
I got it. Go ahead. Who's your MVP, Dave?
Who's my MVP?
DJ Watt.
Yeah. He's the man. That's the only reason I didn't have him as Defensive Player of the Year. If he's not team MVP, then he is Defensive Player of the Year for the Steelers. That's the only reason that I did that. He's still the driving force behind so much of what the Steelers do. You're like, yes, he even affects the offense. The offense has to be different because how different the defense is when TJ Watt's not playing. TJ Watt is not just a game changer. He is a game plan changer. As I've said many times, you have to plan around him. And if he's not playing, it's a whole different game plan.
Okay.
So much more you can do.
Sorry. So 2018, Juju Smith-Schuster won that team MVP. That was the straw that broke Antonio Brown's back.
Yes.
2019, TJ. 2020, TJ. 2021, TJ. 2022, I was right. Minka Fitzpatrick. TJ got hurt. And then 2023, TJ.
Oh, because I thought you said Minka. Yeah, because it wouldn't have been last year that it was Minka. But yeah, he was
2022 when he tore his pec. Right. That's when Minka Fitzpatrick won the award. So, okay, fair enough. Bryan, Most Valuable Player.
So, I always hate when you see Offensive Player of the Year that's not your MVP, and I just went with Najee Harris for that. But the more that I think about it, if all goes according to plan, and even if Najee Harris is playing lights out, if this is a 11 and 6 team, a 12-5 team, then it's going to be because of Russell Wilson. And I have to say Russ Wilson here.
Okay. That's fair. I didn't take, obviously I think TJ Watt is the guy if he stays healthy. I don't think there's any denying that TJ Watt is the most important player. And when I was a coach for all those years in high school, we always did team MVP. And when I got with my coaches to discuss it, I would always say the same thing. This isn't to the best player. It goes to the most valuable player. That if that player is not there, everything changes. Like everything changes. So in this case, the most valuable player is the guy that if he's not in the lineup, the Steelers have only won one game, I think, and that's TJ Watt. So,
but they did manage to beat Tom Brady in that game.
Oh my gosh, whose phone is dinging like that?
Not me.
It's my computer, and I'm trying to. My computer's now in my phone since I have the new computer, and I'm trying to figure it out.
All he's doing is agreeing with you, Jeff. You're making a great point.
That's it. What is that? Around the horn, where they just ding?
Yeah,
it reminds me of Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick, like height and weight, they'd call in and they would ding the bell. All right. So as Bryan figures out his computer, watch out for that Ryan Shazier treatment, Bryan, just so you know. And if you know what I'm talking about. So with the computer that syncs with the phone. Dave, go ahead.
Also, when it comes to TJ Watt and the NFL Defensive Player of the Year, I think he's got to break the sack record for them to give it to him again, because they just don't like that he just plays the game and doesn't suck up to the voters in order to win. It's become where you have to suck up to the voters.
Well, this is just a question, honest question. Like, how did Myles Garrett suck up to the voters?
Let's just say that I don't know that Myles Garrett himself did, but I think the Cleveland Browns won 3 of the major awards because the organization spun stuff through the media.
Oh, well, the Steelers and the media.
Was Stefanski really the best coach last year?
He dealt with a good bit.
I'm sorry, I'd have given it to the guy from Houston that trounced him in the playoffs.
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah. And the comeback player of the year was a joke. And Myles Garrett had 1 sack over the last 6 games. I don't think that even counts the playoff game where he was. But neither. That's what Myles Garrett and TJ Watt have in common. You didn't see either of them in the playoff. It's just Myles Garrett was actually on the field.
Yep. Sorry about that. Okay, let's do some trivia. Bryan, do you have trivia?
No. What do I get to answer the question?
What question was it?
Were we talking about Myles Garrett?
No, there was no question. It was just a Dave because he said he was kissing up to the media. Did you want to answer that?
No, we're good.
In other words, he wasn't paying attention. He was trying to silence his
computer. No, I was. I was paying attention. You know what? I think now I am going to comment because I don't have trivia. Myles Garrett, it's the same as Ray Lewis winning Super Bowl MVP in 35. He was preordained. Myles Garrett was preordained from the beginning of the season because he was the guy that they were waiting for him to break out. And he did it all through 8 games, even though everybody had better numbers, even though he struggled through the last half of the season. They were giving it to him come hell or high water. Guess what? Next couple years, doesn't matter how great he is, Micah Parsons. The league wants Micah Parsons to win it. Micah Parsons is going to get one.
And he's saying all the right things and not showing up to the ceremony when he knew he didn't win.
True. So
I'm not saying TJ should have. I'm just saying those are the things that should not be factors. It really should be who is out there doing the most and the best on the field.
All right. Good stuff, Dave. I know you have trivia.
Oh, yeah. So, Jeff, I have to ask, because I already know the answer, Bryan. Did you happen to see my 30 scenarios in 30 days article today?
I did not today, no.
Good. Because I wanted to use stuff from that for trivia. Okay. You can go check this out at steelcurtainetwork.com, where my scenario for the day was the Steelers will make at least 2 trades between now and the start of the regular season. Well, I didn't say at least 2. I said multiple, which implies at least 2. Because they've actually done so the last 3 years. Last year, what were the 2 trades that the Steelers did from the start of training camp to week 1?
Kevin Dotson and Kendrick Green right?
That's correct. Kevin Dotson and Kendrick Green. And Jeff, that is where when we were trying to figure out how did the Steelers even have a 6th round pick to send to the Bears for Justin Fields, it's because the one for Kendrick Green was for 2025 and not 2024. We found that out later.
Okay.
You remember the 2 trades that the Steelers made in 2022?
Absolutely.
2022?
Yeah, the year before.
Go ahead, Brian.
It was on Cutdown Day. It was Jesse Davis.
Yep.
Who we hardly knew ye.
For a 2025 7th round pick, which might be conditional, so we don't really know if they did it or not. Okay.
And Malik Reed.
That is correct. So 2023, they got rid of 2 players. 2022, they gained 2 players. What about 2021?
Oh my gosh.
2 of them there.
I would assume they brought players in.
You are correct. They brought 2 players in.
Miles Jack. Not Miles Jack. Joe Schobert.
Joe Schobert.
That was in the preseason.
Anytime from the beginning of training camp up into there. He was during the second preseason game, and they had 4 that year because they were in the Hall of Fame game, right? So he would, cost them a 6th round pick. Who was the other player?
Oh, it happened during one of our shows on Labor Day. It was Witherspoon.
It was Akello Witherspoon. That was the other one. So, okay, well, the Steelers made no trades in 2020. One in 2019, they traded away a player. I'd be impressed if you remember this one.
No.
They traded him, pretty sure, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was an offensive lineman.
Oh, I was gonna say.
What's that, Jeff?
I didn't say anything. I was thinking. I feel like it's there. I can see the guy, but I can't think of his name.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Went to LSU.
Yeah.
Jalen
Hawkins, something like that.
Yep. Gerald Hawkins.
Gerald Hawkins. Okay, that was
4th round pick.
2018, they traded for 1 player.
Vance McDonald. No, not Vance McDonald. Ryan Switzer.
I was going to say Ben's little buddy. They traded for Ryan Switzer. So now we get to the 2017, which was the main question I was going to ask you guys, because I didn't actually have this listed out in the article. The Steelers made 5 trades. 5 trades in 2017. 2 of them was to acquire players. 2 of them was to acquire a player for the cost of draft picks. Who were the 2 players they acquired in 2017? And if you need a hint, I'll tell you what team they got them from.
Vance McDonald
from San Francisco.
And I think he came from Tampa, and he was with Dallas too. Yep. He was a defensive back.
The Wilcox?
Yes.
Yeah.
JJ Wilcox. Good job, guys. Okay.
I needed the help on that one.
Who were the 2 players the Steelers traded away in the beginning of September? What's that?
Sammy Coates.
That was the only trade to an AFC team, and that was
the Jets. Oh, the Browns. He went to the Browns?
They traded him with the Browns.
Oh, wow.
They sent him in a 7th in exchange for a 6th.
Jeez.
And I think they sent someone to the Giants.
They sent someone to the Giants. You are right.
The Brad Wing?
Nope. That was earlier.
No, they've done that though.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Someone in the live chat said, Nick Burnett was during the season. Sorry.
We liked him. He went to Duke. Defensive
Ross
back.
Cockrell.
Duke.
Yes.
Yes.
Ross Cockrell. Isn't he a Super Bowl champion, Ross Cockrell?
He is.
Look at me and Jeff teaming up here.
Yes. Now for the ultimate trivia question when it comes to this, that I would blow my mind if you guys could get this. The 5th deal that was done was actually done about a week, a little bit more than a week before mainly those others. It was a week before Vance McDonald. And then the other 3 were later. The Steelers made a trade with the Washington, I'm pretty sure at the time, Redskins, where they traded player for player.
I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles.
Actually. No, it was with Washington.
Washington?
Yes.
Was Steven Johnston?
The reason this is so tricky is I don't think either player made the roster for either team.
Yeah, he was a linebacker. I'm pretty sure the Steelers traded away a linebacker. No?
Nope.
I want to say William Jackson III.
You are correct.
I know that's
Crushing these. But this one, I would be so impressed if you could remember this one. Okay? I'll
Give me
even
the
tell you.
position. I want the
It
position
was
of
the
the Steelers.
Steelers traded away a center for a defensive back. I think the defensive back made the practice squad.
with Washington.
No, this is the one that's the Steelers got.
Okay. No, I'm saying the
Oh.
trade was with
Oh,
Washington.
the trade was with Washington. But
He
other than
wore
that,
number
they never
38.
appeared in games for the Steelers.
I remember this. Porter Parker. When you say it, I'm gonna know. I don't know who they traded, but I can picture this guy's name, but I don't have it.
You could say the name. Okay, the Steelers traded away center Lucas Crowley.
Okay, I would have never gotten that.
Never
but
gotten that.
Give me the first. Give me the initials.
DP.
Yeah, I was saying Parker Porter. No, Palmer. No. Just give it to me.
No, that's well, I'm telling you DP, that's probably more confusing because it's PH. It's Deshaun Phillips.
Deshaun
never-
Phillips. That's
Never.
You remember that one?
yes, I do actually. I do, but I would have never.
When they made that move, it's like, they're really just trading. I think they were just trading to help have some depth for maybe the last game or something. But
I would have never.
and
Pulled
maybe
that
the
out,
practice squad. But yeah, that one was when I saw that one. When I looked this up today, I was like, oh wow, I remember those names once I saw it. I'm like, I forgot that even happened.
But
But
Crowley,
that was
I've
just a
never
whole lot.
heard-
You
I've
guys
never heard of Crowley.
crushed the rest of these. You crushed all the rest of those
It
trades.
was a team
Very
effort.
nice
It was
job.
a team effort.
And then 2015,
I
they
didn't even go
traded.
back that far.
Yeah, I'll go back to 2015 because I know where I was. I was on the playground with Jeff Hartman, our kids,
Marcus
and
Gilbert.
it was Marcus Gilbert, and we're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" We're like,
To
celebrating.
Arizona.
There was no
Hey,
reason to celebrate.
A name that got brought up in the live chat, just kind of curious, Cody Sensabaugh. What year was he signed by the Steelers? That was on a trade, I don't think. But Cody Sensabaugh was just a name. I was like, Cody, I haven't
Hold
heard
on.
Cody
I'll be able to look it
Sensabaugh.
up here shortly.
Wait a second, it wasn't Marcus Gilbert. It was his name was Gilbert.
It was Justin Gilbert.
Justin Gilbert.
Yeah, Justin Gilbert. Sorry. It was Gilbert.
Yeah, you got Gilbert.
Okay.
right?
It was Cody Sensabaugh.
COTY, I think.
Yes, it is. He played for a lot of different teams. He
Yes.
was with Pittsburgh in 2017 and 2018.
He
Wasn't
was
he-
a good piece
wasn't-
of the puzzle.
But wasn't he the one that his wife, like, he wasn't playing and no one knew why? And his wife was like trashing the Steelers on social media? It was like a big conspiracy as to why he wasn't playing. I'll have to do some digging.
I don't know, but
All right. This
they
has been
signed
fun.
him he was signed as a free agent.
Yeah, it wasn't a
in
trade.
March. Yeah.
All right. Let's do some final
Yeah.
thoughts. Brian, go ahead.
You know, guys, I'm a big chip on the shoulder guy, and I think there's a lot of chips to go around for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, especially a lot of people saying, this is the fourth best team in the AFC North. Oh, they traded away Kenny Pickett, and they got two guys that were thrown away from other teams, so they don't have a good quarterback situation. We're hearing all of that. Then something came out the other day, and Dave might be able to help me with this just based on the source of the rankings. But you looked at the best safeties in the game, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is now number 3, and he is dropped.
I think he
And-
fell to number 5 from
Okay.
number 1.
ESPN was 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they had him 4? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know Kyle Hamilton's ahead of him and all of that. And the other guys that are ahead, there's a guy from Tampa Bay ahead of him. And I'm thinking, that's perfect. Go
Mhm.
ahead. And we know Minkah was beat up last year. We know he was. A healthy Minkah is one thing, but an angry Minkah, ask Chase Claypool what an angry Minkah will do. A motivated Minkah. My gosh, I cannot wait to see this guy next year. When was it Jeff or Dave that made him Defensive Player of the Year?
That was me.
I agreed with a lot of your answers in this exercise today. I thought there's none that I disagreed with, but you could make a case for all of them. I probably went out on the limb on a Landon Roberts, but I think it's fun to do that. I like having different answers. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, he could probably, when you look at 3 phases of the Steelers defense, from down in the trenches to the middle to the to deep in the defensive backfield, they've got all pro players everywhere. And even then some too, because you're adding a guy like Patrick Queen who could be amazing, who we really didn't talk about today. So I'm so excited about all these chips on the shoulders. I think Minkah has a big one. I think he is. I think the reports of number 39's demise have been premature.
All right, Dave, final thoughts.
Yeah, we're doing this exercise. I find it ironic that we did it because if you listen to this morning's Pittsburgh Standard Time with myself and Greg Benevent, we talked about, the dangers of overthinking things with the Steelers offseason. And we talked about how you can convince yourself that the sky is completely falling or that everything is sunshine and rainbows. You could go either way by classically overthinking stuff. And that's what we were really doing here. That's why Najee Harris could both be in the doghouse or be the Offensive Player of the Year. That's the kind of stuff that's going on right now as we have nothing on the field to evaluate. But in 2 weeks from today, we will be doing a show talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers' first practice at training camp. It's just around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, you know what? Overthink away. Just have a good time with it. But remember, it's probably not going to play out how we all have it in our minds with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. That's why we're going to tune in. That's why we get to sit back and watch these games and hopefully enjoy.
Well said. Good show, gentlemen. I think this was a great exercise, good primer. We're getting ready for training camp in just 2 weeks. That's crazy. And less than 2 weeks. And it's going to be a lot of fun on the 24th. We'll have the Training Camp Confidential coming up on SteelCurtainNetwork.com, so be on the lookout for that, and we'll have everything covered for you on the podcast side. But, Dave, why don't you send us out like you always do?
Hey.
We'll see you next week on another Steelers preview. Take it easy.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.